We're good.
Okay.
Recording has started.
Okay, we watched The Wizard of Lies.
Let me ask you a question. Do you think I'm a sociopath?
Sure, I think we all are.
That's how we ended it, the last line of the movie.
I know. Yep. Do you think I am a sociopath?
That was freaking brilliant.
Yeah.
But not the whole, the movie was good.
Yes.
But that last line.
Yep.
The way it ended with the question. So now you get to answer all those other things inside with that question for yourself.
Right. It's almost like go back and watch it again.
Yeah. And look at him with that eyes and go, okay, I'm going to judge whether he's a sociopath, because you never really. They certainly acted like he was one. All the kids and all the media and all the stuff, and I guess I should look up the definition of sociopath to be able to. I think I know it means somebody who ultimately doesn't really care. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's what a sociopath. They don't care who they hurt. They just concentrate on themselves, and that's all they value.
Yeah. But he cared about other people, but not enough to not, screw them over.
Or maybe his sons knew about it and they kept denying it so that they could get away with it. And that's why they did the things they did to themselves in it.
Yeah. Because we don't know if this is the truth.
Yeah.
This is what he's going with. And he might have kind of been like the sacrificial cow and just said, oh, it was all me. It was all me. And like, I kind of don't think so. I kind of think it was just that one guy and him who did the majority of the thing. But the point he had about greed, and it's like, okay, at one point he was paying people good money. They were getting good returns, and that's why they trusted him to do even more. So some people were getting some money at one point. And so the idea that, he was saying, well, you got greedy people. They want, 50% returns on their investment. Like, what kind of greed? You have to take ownership of that as well. So there's a slight point to that. I mean, if it sounds too good to be true, then it might not be true. So,
but he was like the chairman of the SEC and wrote all the rules, and so I could see how he could convince people that he knows better how to make investments for people and knows the right ways of making that happen. And people I would believe in him if I saw everybody's dossier on what they've accomplished in this world.
Yeah.
I would look at his and go, well, he looks like he should make the most amount of money. Oh, look at that. He's making the most amount of money.
Yeah.
I'm smart. I'm going to give him my money.
Yep. And he did say at one point, I thought I could work my way out. I thought I could. And I couldn't. He was hoping to, keep piling it. It's like the pyramid things. As long as you have people keep giving it to you, you can keep going. But the minute someone stops,
not only that, it's when the stock market fell in 2008 that he had the losses. I don't know that he thought he could make it survive as the Ponzi scheme.
Right.
But it wasn't a Ponzi scheme until the stock market fell. Then it became a Ponzi scheme because he didn't have the money and he used the people's reserves as the money to pay people off with, not the investments.
Yeah.
So I don't think it was a Ponzi scheme to start. It started to become one, and worse, and then it all fell. And he went, "That's the only way I can make this survive." And go down that rabbit hole. I mean, you saw his comfortable life. Like with the lobster, that was really good. With get him lobster. You don't serve it open.
Oh yeah,
fix that. And I like that he wasn't in that little line. So he, not a waiter, but a staff of the event that he was hosting. He said, I want a lobster for my son. And he brings out a lobster. His son didn't even want it. And he goes, lobster, it's got his claws on it. It's not opened. And he made him take it back. But he didn't treat him with total disdain like you could easily make somebody do. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, if you want to really paint him as a bad guy, it would have been so easy for him after the proper lobster came to say something negative about the wait staffers. He didn't. He went, oh, okay. He got it. So I really like they didn't go down the obvious roads at times to paint him as the bigger monster. Because if he would have treated that wait staff worse, I'm ready to believe he's more of a monster.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we all want to hate him. But it's like And same with the woman, his wife, Michelle Pfeiffer. I thought she did a really good job because she didn't remind me, like, I didn't think, oh, there's Michelle Pfeiffer acting. I just, she became that character really well.
Yeah, no, I thought Hank Azaria was fantastic as the other guy who knew what was going on.
Yeah, he did a good job.
And how does that guy look so young all the time? That guy was at the start of The Simpsons in the 80s.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know him that well.
Well, he did a lot of voices on The Simpsons, like Apu, the store owner, and he got in trouble for that because he was a white guy doing an Indian accent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So he did a lot of different accents. So he had to retire Apu from the show because of that. But I really like Hank Azaria, and he's been on a bunch of things. He was on Friends as Phoebe's boyfriend in Minsk, Russia, and I've seen him play a lot of bit parts, but he actually played a hefty role in here where he was a slimy guy a little bit, and then he was Bernie Madoff's best, closest bud, knowing what's going on, and was ready to listen to the behind the scenes stories.
Yeah, he was a linchpin. He was holding stuff together. He was the one that was trusted to do it wrong. Get it? Yeah.
The guy who has to go down with him if Bernie Madoff's going to go down, and he didn't even make him go down.
Yeah.
But we didn't even see, we saw the sons and the repercussions to them. Did we see what happened to Hank Azaria?
Not enough. Well, I mean, I like how we saw the wife. What was she delivering food? Or Meals on Wheels. Yeah. So I thought that was good. We got to hear at the end of what happened to the two sons. We don't know too much about the families, I don't think, but yeah, there was a bunch of things that I really like. I just appreciated. I like when they tried to commit suicide themselves, the two of them, and they took sleeping pills, and they were watching the Judy Garland movie, and Judy Garland accidentally died from an overdose of sleeping pills. So, just little touches like that. And the idea when he was arrested, remove your shoelaces. And he took his shoelaces out, and it wasn't like over dramatic or anything, but it was a touch that made you go, yeah.
You heard the shoelaces coming out of the eyelets of the shoes.
Yes. Yeah. It was.
I really like that.
Well done. Yeah. So, and I like one of his quotes was, "I have nothing but regrets." So he wishes it hadn't happened. But one of the things I think would be a good exploration actually would be that the wives of the complicit wives of these big guys. I think of Mrs. Corleone, the mama from The Family. She knew what her husband was doing, but I would like to know more about them and what they actually think and what they really knew. And, yeah, I think that would be an interesting sort of examination. The thing is, they couldn't tweak the storyline too much because they were dealing with fairly factual story here. This is based on a book, which is based on real life. And the interviewer in the movie was actually someone who did an interview with him. And she said it was kind of creepy because, he did a really good job. Felt like he was sitting across from him again. I thought that was done. I like the guy from the Home Depot who comes in and says, "There's something wrong with this." And that people are just handing money over. And I love how during that one party scene, the guy says, I can give you, what is it, $5 million? No, I can't, no, not enough. Okay. Hey.
He kept negotiating that up.
And then begging him to please let me invest. Please let me invest. And it's like, wow, he was a cool cucumber when it came to that. So.
Yeah, he needed $300 million. And the guy says, "I'll give you $100 million. He went, "No, 200, no, 225, 230. And he finally went, "I could do it," because he's saying, "I have to knock some of my good clients out. I'm not going to do that for $40 million or $100 million. I'm going to do that for $500 million. They were oversubscribed. I was hoping for a really good De Niro movie because he's done so many crappy movies lately where he just shows up for the $3 million paycheck and does a comedy, Meet the Parents 7 and whatever. And this, he had to stop and think, even that, Do You Think I'm a Sociopath? I watched it a bunch of times, and he had a little bit in it, if you watch it closely, of I'm saying it and I'm trying to get you to say I'm not, the way he saying it.
Yeah.
It's little delays or something in how he says. Do you think I'm so? He does something that makes him manipulate you into thinking he's not. It was really, really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
That
No.
was a good piece of acting right at that little moment. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there's it shows you money doesn't solve problems. And it gave you the perspective of the people who were cheated out of the money. It let them have a voice, and I thought that was really good. And for the guy too, for Bernie to have just said pleading guilty. I mean, the years possibly he would have been in court, and the money that would have been wasted on lawyers. It would have been ridiculous, and the chance that he might have gotten off. I mean, who knew? Because lawyers get all kinds of people off.
Yeah, and they find little inconsistencies in something, and the SEC themselves look culpable in this. And he was able to get people to not make phone calls at the right time, and those people weren't doing their job, and so other people could be pulled into that. But the one was it the son who said about I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but you'll never see this go to court,
right?
Because all these big banks have to come in, and they won't want to come in,
right?
And that won't happen. So they'll do whatever the things are to not make them have to take the stand,
right?
Because they're all essentially doing the same thing. It's not a Ponzi scheme.
No, but
they're taking your money with the absolute chance of you getting nothing back.
Yeah,
and that's the thing. You sign all these documents when you go to a money manager. I love how every advertisement you see, come to Scotiabank, you're richer than you think.
Yeah.
And it is.
Yeah. 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 No, I thought it was like they took on parts of the life, like being at a party and having the grandkids for supper, and like just little bits of their life that it's like, oh, okay, because it was kind of a nice little touch that we got to see some of that. Because what do you get to see? Like what is the writer of the book and then the screenplay going to allow us to see of like Bernie Madoff? Are they going to, again, sacrifice him or paint him to be, this terrible guy? And it's like, well, there's a little bit of sympathy, but not that much, but enough to makes you, I don't know, what it tells me is that we want to paint everyone as good and evil and, all that stuff. But it's like, it's way more complicated than that. Even like people who are in jail, people who've done heinous crimes are still people, and they make mistakes.
I agree. Like when everybody applauds on any court case, I don't care if it's, somebody was murdered. Like this happens all the time when a child is murdered, and then the court case comes up and they go guilty, and people scream in the back with cheer.
Yeah.
Who's cheering what? What is there to cheer for?
What really are you cheering for?
2 lives are ruined. There was one before, and I agree that person has to pay and all this kind of stuff. But cheering, what does that get you? There was a really good it was a YouTube that I saw of what's her name, the lady Judge Judy. Mm-hmm. And there was a girl and a guy. I think it was Judge Judy, might have been another one, but there's a girl and a guy, and it's going to be are you the father of the daughter kind of thing, and it's read out. No, it wasn't Judge. It wasn't her. It was another one. A black lady was the judge, and she goes to the guy who wanted to be the father of this woman's daughter. Like he thought he was, he hoped for it. And she dumped him because he fooled around on her, was the whole story. And so she hates this guy. And it comes out and says, you're not the father. And he's, oh my goodness. And she jumps up and screams, yes, got you, lying. You know what I mean? That kind of thing.
Yeah.
And the judge stops her in her tracks and goes, this is the problem. There are so many women who would die for the father of their child to drive 16 miles to spend time with he drives 160, and you just cheered that daughter doesn't have a guy who will do that for her in his life. You even say you don't even know where the father is, and you're cheering that for your daughter.
Yeah.
How
But the urge to win,
I know, and be
is
right.
so strong, but no one is ever completely right. In courts, in life, no one is completely, just 100% you, and the other person has absolutely, nothing bad or nothing good.
There was a Jordan Peterson that I thought about during this. And he said, in all of the people I've ever met, and he's a psychologist, and of no one ever gets away with anything, ever. And that was when you, and so then you sit there and go, well, of course they did. And you start adding in your head, and, okay, nope, and nope, and nope, and nope. You never, even Bernie Madoff, who has multiple millions, billions of dollars, could do that. He ends up having his sons die, and his, you know what I mean? Like his life and his wife, and alone, and wondering if he's a psychopath and wanting that last bit of control. And I guess you never do, because even if you're getting away with it inside, you're not getting away with it inside anymore.
Yeah. And I guess that's the psychopath, is when you don't care about that. But I mean, again, it eats away at people. I mean, just the stress, like the two boys, relatively healthy. I mean, and they had all the medical stuff that could help them. And then they have mental illness and suicide, and the other one has cancer. And then who's to say part of this, the thing that they went through, which was, I'm sure, terrible. When you're like, how do you deal with, like, it's not you didn't do anything, and you're trying to convince people that you didn't do anything, and nobody believes you because you've been living a fairly good life, and like that has to be terrible. So, and they're supposedly the innocent people. So
I've just seen at the bottom of the movie list in MB, and other movies like this, there's a movie called Longford, Longford.
Okay.
Watch that movie. That is this times 10 in that fight and struggle for how bad people are really bad people or not. And it's about the Myra Hindley and somebody else murdered, very much like Paul Bernardo killings, but in England.
Okay.
And one of the girls who was murdered they were called the there's a thing almost like Everglades in England, where they're sort of rolling hills and grasses.
The Moors?
Moors murders. So this is about the Moors murders. And one of the girls who was murdered there was a classmate of Debbie's in England. And while she was a classmate, she was taken and murdered.
Okay.
So in other words, it like direct sort of
connection.
And it affected her, and the fears and the things happening, and so that is about them and what happens to them. And it is like, you don't know how much to have sympathy or not. You struggle back and forth like crazy in that thing because of how horrendous.
Right.
I've gotten many arguments about the Paul Bernardo thing. And I remember even with Debbie, we had the discussions, because I would say she's not as culpable as him.
Right.
And she would go, he's just as culpable. She's just as culpable, 100% equal. And I'm going, no, she would not have been a murderer if she never met him. He was already the Scarborough rapist. He then killed her sister, which is her parents' daughter.
Yeah.
And now he's holding that over her because they had sex with their sister and they should have dying. And now she can't tell her parents that I'm responsible somewhat for my sister's death. So now you are under his thumb. And you saw there were pictures and stuff of her beat up like crazy.
Yeah.
And he wasn't beat up like crazy. So she's got this complex happening where she is beholden to him. I agree, she's terrible. I think she should have life in prison and he should be hung. You know what I mean? Like I don't like that she got off in 7 years or whatever. That's not my point. Is she should get 7 years and he should get 25 or whatever the thing is. But I don't think she's as guilty as him. I think she was manipulated by like how lots of people get, everybody is, like in this movie, the wife was, and blind to it on purpose because you just got a great life, and he lets everybody be blind to it, and he's thrilled with it. And, but I got in so much trouble when I would say she's not as guilty as him. And you'll have that same question in this. Is Myra Hindley as guilty or more guilty or less guilty than the other guy? And you watch it unfold. It's amazing. A way better acted movie than this.
Well, this is dealing with the truth. And it's funny because they couldn't say, well, let's make Bernie really bad. Instead of 65 billion, let's make it $750 billion. Like they weren't going to change the facts.
Yeah.
But 65 billion is pretty darn bad. That's a lot of money.
That's a Twitter for Elon Musk.
Well, yeah, for those people. But I think there was a bunch of people, like, yeah, rich people just lost some of their money, but I bet you other people lost everything. And that would be interesting to follow some of, like, who was really hurt with that, and what did that look like? You know, did 85-year-old lady have to become a crossing guard?
Was it the way the movie was done? But when I'm watching them in court, all standing up and saying, you did this to me, you did that to me, I don't have a lot of sympathy for them. I don't know why. Why do I not? Because their words aren't really going to adjust it. He's not going from 100 years in prison to 150 because of what these people are saying. Ultimately, he's going to apply the law to things and manage it. People want to be heard, but how is that being heard going to do anything?
That people feel like, that's why we have what is it called, victim impact statements, and they're so amazingly important for people to. It's the process to help you overcome, or not triumph over, but the victimization that you feel. And so they give people as much of a chance to do that. Because what can you do? Yeah, let's have a line and we can kick Bernie as he passes by. Like, you want to spit on him? Like, and it almost does remind me of, crucify him. It's like, it's not that far off. Like they were mad.
It's like the scenes after World War II in France, where the girl would have slept with Nazis and been the girlfriend of Nazis who were in the area. And then after World War II, they would take these women in the public square and strip them naked and shave their heads. And I saw some where people were punching at them and hitting them while they're shaved and naked and like hovering, and people are beating on them.
Yeah. And
I'm going, all that person did was try to save themselves, what everybody does
to get along.
Yeah. They didn't sit there and go, oh, this Nazi thing is the best. I can't wait to enjoy this life. They just went, I want to be safe. If I do run away from it, I might not be safe. I'll be more safe doing this. I'm going to do that. And when you turn and hate that, you're doing the same thing the Nazis did.
Yeah.
The same freaking thing.
But we as a people are not good at public perception. We pick a thing and we jump all over it, like vaccine mandates and all kinds of stuff. We jump so hard and so fast onto something that we leave no room for truth. Like Indigenous things, the black-white issue, there's just police brutality. There's so many things that we need to have a stance. And once a certain stance is declared, you're not allowed to attack it without being, completely evil because you're attacking everything about it. It's like, no, we're just saying that this part about it, it's not as quite as whatever as you think. So we're not good at that as a people.
I don't know that there is a middle ground. I like to think I take middle grounds. If I'm arguing with a conservative, I can be very liberal. If I'm arguing with a liberal, I can be very conservative. I think I'm very centrist because I run to that spot always.
Yes. Well, I sometimes, if I hear one this way, I like on purpose, I'm going to let's think about that. I don't even necessarily have to agree with it, but let's hear that side before we jump over and declare it something that it might not be.
Well, because we're fed, the stories that the media wants to feed us and the narrative we're going to get from them. And there's always two sides to every story, to every breakup, to every.
And sound bites have ruined people. just little words that people have said, and now you are in trouble and everyone hates you and you're canceled.
It's because we listen to fear more than we listen to calm.
Yeah.
No reason to if somebody has a calm story over here and somebody has a fear-based story over here, you will focus on that.
Yeah.
Just like when 50,000 years ago, when we're in the savannas and we're looking at a beautiful flower and a cheetah is coming up through the grasslands towards us, we are going to focus on the thing that we have fear of on purpose, because it saves our lives. So the news knows that. It knows to spout fear, because then you'll focus and they have something to sell you. They're advertising.
Yeah.
So they need as many people to be focused on the fear
Yeah.
as possible. And if people don't understand that, because they hear something about what's going on and they go, oh my goodness, that's so scary. And they wrap their head around it, like just believing it wholeheartedly and not realizing they've just been sold some dish soap because of it. That's all.
Yeah, that does happen more than we think, I believe. But no, I think they did a good job. It was an HBO movie, so when I heard that, I thought, okay, I'm looking at it with it's not a theatrical release, so right. I saw it slightly differently. It's more of like, can't say a documentary. That's not right. But it's based on a book, which is trying very hard to be based on facts. So I thought it was a good representation of a story that I heard a little bit about, but I had not heard, and I certainly heard a lot of it. But that's because I also didn't have any money in there, so I wasn't ready to.
You're richer than you think. I'm sure that he used that same line to people when they would come in and they go, look, I've got $4.5 million to invest with you. That's all I have. You're richer than you think. Oh, good. That's all they get sold that bill of goods the same way the bank does it for you today. Nothing's different.
I did like how when they talked about auctioning off what he did have to help recoup. And so of the 65 billion that went missing, there's 1.5 billion that they recovered. And they used it like they sold her underwear. And it was like, oh man, how low can you go? But it's like,
I don't know that they sold her underwear.
No, but they like, that's what the line they used is like they cannibalized the apartment and their possessions in a lot of ways, and they just,
But that's the kind of thing that somehow that gets through the media, and somebody will say, well, I took the underwear and I'm going to go sell it on eBay because, you know what I mean? Like, because I can prove that it was hers or something of that. That's probably bunk. But
it might be. Yes.
Yeah. And even I'm talking about in real life, in that, it was set up to be so you would see the conspiracy theory inside the conspiracy theory. You know what I mean? Like, they feel the same kind of conspiracies around them that they can't believe are happening. Like, I mean, all that was set up was so that he could go, oh, I can't believe how terrible people are, as he's stealing the billions. I can't believe how terrible people are. What this world come to?
Yes. That's terrible.
Yeah.
It's not fair. It's like, what you did is fair.
That's right. But that's I wonder if that line was put in so that he could say that's awful what the world's coming to, taking underwear and the morals of this degenerate earth we live on now. As he patting himself on the back. I live for my kids.
Yeah, and that turned out good for him, didn't it? And he loved his wife. He adored his wife. And then, so.
Like, you wonder why people couldn't stick with him. And
it is too many people against you. You know what it's like to.
But you're willing to die. So you're willing to die, and you go, this bullying pressure is too much. It's part of why you killed yourself, because you also let your dad down when you didn't have to.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if they start at one point. It's like, I have, like, because he said about his father, I am not, that's, my dad is dead to me or whatever. Like the sixth son said that. So it's like, at one point you just have to cut ties and like it's too much. You're going against your closest people, your furthest people, and public opinion, and then the media, and like everyone is against you. And for you to say, but he was a really great dad. He really was. So yeah, you can't get people on your boat, even
But if
though
you
it's
can't
a
even
pretty
get
good
your
boat.
own, it's like a mother who loves their kids unconditionally, and then one of them becomes a murderer, and they go, "But I still love my son or daughter or whatever." Um, like, should you hate that mother for doing that? So should you hate the son for doing that? I don't know. I don't like that. I don't.
No, but I can imagine why people would buckle to the pressure. I mean,
That's the same pressure that the Nazis put on people to become Nazis.
yes, absolutely. But I understand it. I can see how people just I can see how they, did whatever they were supposed to do, and then when everyone said that's wrong, and then they got on the same bandwagon. I can see how people do that. I don't like it. It's not good for humankind to be like that, but that is sort of inevitably how we live quite often. So
There's a story. I listened to a podcast once on a long drive, and it was about a woman who couldn't have kids, met a man. They decided not that they didn't have kids, and it was okay. And she was so in love with this man; he was the best man ever. She couldn't believe how wonderful. They decided to adopt a child, and that they're going to start that off by fostering kids, and so they end up having this girl in who's like 8 or 9 years old, and this is after having a couple of different kids through. And then they were told, you're not told too much about the kid you're fostering, you're just told a little bit. And they knew that she had some pretty difficult traumas that she went through. So they get this kid, and now she's like 13. And all of a sudden, I guess she goes over to stay at a friend's house. And so the woman calls up the other mother and says, "Please just keep her away from the internet. That's my only worry, that she'll get on and start talking to men and, you know what I mean, like get in trouble that way." And the person said something like, "Okay, I'll do that," but they didn't. And sure enough, she talked to men and ended up, at 13, meeting up with these guys who were 25, 30 or whatever. And things happened, and it was awful. And then she goes to the authorities and says that this woman's husband, who took in the kids, did that to her.
Right.
And so now she's going, I have a stepdaughter, no, it's not stepdaughter, adopted, and she was
foster
adopted.
daughter.
She actually she was adopted, right? So she now goes, I believe my husband fully, but what if she's telling the truth and I'm denying her truth?
Right.
What am I doing to my daughter then? Like,
Right.
if then she needs it, and I'm turning my back and trusting my husband, but even though she knows her husband wouldn't do that, what if goes into her head?
Yeah.
So she's like totally lost in her head on this and can't believe this is unfolding the way it is. And she goes, this is, I guess, all during the COVID time, and she gets all the court documents because her now husband's being charged with this.
Yeah.
And her almost an accessory kind of thing.
Yeah.
So she's getting all the court things, and she's reading what she said the little girl said her husband did. She knows all the details. She's read it and memorized it, like every detail, and would even have, when she would say, and on this weekend he did this, and she goes, I have proof he was in New York City.
Yeah.
He wasn't even anywhere near here. She just it's proof he made that up. And of course, that'll just be, well, she got the dates wrong, and so you can't go down that road. So she knows inside for sure now that the husband didn't do it and the girl made it up.
Yeah.
She's going through, and she gets all the real documentation, because it's a court case, on what happened to the girl when she was like 6.
Yeah.
And she's reading it, and it's almost word for word exactly what she said the husband did.
Yeah.
She's reliving this
Yeah.
in blaming the husband. So she's got this pain and trauma, and she gets to have somebody pay for it. So almost exactly what happened is what she said the husband did. And so, and then that became, the DA stopped the case, you know what I mean? Like threw it out and realized, oh my goodness, you're right.
Yeah.
What happened to her is exactly what she said happened there. We figured it out. Thank you. But he was ruined for that.
Yeah, of course.
So like that's, and yet everybody goes, oh, I guess he didn't do it, but maybe he still did. You know what I mean? Maybe
Yeah.
there was a little bit of
the paint does not come off the brush for that. Once it's painted on, it doesn't come off in a lot of ways.
And it's funny, in some way, that's my solace inside for not having children. Like, what are the chances of something going wrong? You know what I mean? Like something just not working out, and it happens. Now, I've got 2 sisters and a brother. They had kids, and actually worked out. I guess the chances are higher that mine wouldn't, because if it's a Gaussian curve and all that's little, I might be an outlier on one of those sides.
Yeah. Yeah, but it can be anything. It could be the loss of a child. It could be there's so much that, like, it's great. You know, parenting, that's wonderful, but it's like there's so much more to it. You sign up for a sweet, lovely little baby. What you get is a child who won't let you sleep and who potentially has, you know, issues, and then you don't know how to deal with those issues. And so it's not an easy thing. So when you survive it, this like, woohoo.
Yeah, no kidding. I knew Mom and Dad were always pretty pleased how we came out.
Yeah.
Pretty untouched, the 4 of us, compared to a lot of his brothers and sisters
or contemporaries. Yeah.
And even mums, like they've had hard lives, and we've somehow risen, and we all love each other, and it's just smooth and nice and comfortable. It's a good. I know lots of people who have a brother or a sister who's been sent away from their life, and they never talk to them anymore.
Right.
Like, what has to go on to make that happen?
I don't know. Yeah.
I mean, I was almost that, wasn't I?
Well, in the grand scheme of things, that lasted for 15 minutes of our grand scheme of life. It was a terrible, however many years it was for you and for the rest of us. But it was quite tame when you think about it, but it's not tame when you're going through it.
And it's funny because until lately, I never thought it was a thing that affected me.
Oh, it does, whether you like it or not.
And then lately, I've been realizing the effect it's had on me, and the what's the word? Abandonment.
Yeah.
Your abandonment issues. You sit there and you go,
yep.
I don't want to be abandoned. I will do the things. How do I solve this?
How do I fix that so that never happens to me?
Yeah, exactly. And you just act a certain way and do certain things, and then you realize you can rise above it. Yeah.
And we had parents who were separated for a time. So we, and then you as a boy and me as a girl, we had completely different experiences that way.
Yeah.
And we processed it differently and the same. And it's very unique to see, to understand that what you go through as a child. I was sitting there talking with Dad. Oh, let me see. Probably won't cry, but, and I haven't gotten a lot out of Dad because he has dementia and stuff. But he said to me, I said, do you have any old memories you want to talk about or do you want to think about? Is anything popping up, any old stories? And he said, when we took the dip. And I said, what dip? So he said, when you were in the water, when I pulled you out of the water. And that was the story when he had been walking in the lake with me on his shoulders. And he hit something where there's he went under, like there was the part where you're walking on ground and then there is no ground. So Dad went under, I went under. Mom's standing on the shore panicking because she can't swim and is not going to be able to help. And they're feeling around under the water for me and picked me up by the ankle and pulled me up. So I almost drowned. I was underwater and they were frantically trying to find me. And so Dad had remembered that and talked about it. And it's like, okay, he's losing what's most of his mind, but that little thing stuck in his head, like the panic of almost losing your child, it doesn't go away.
Yeah. And with me, it was the holding me under the water.
Now that's another whole podcast. You're going to make everyone think that you're telling the truth.
Actually, we should do that. We should do a lies podcast where we just make
up all crap. No, I think we are so good at it that people are going to say, "Oh, let's start arresting people." And we can only we can't throw other people under the bus. But I mean, so I can throw you under the bus and you can throw me under the bus.
No, we just lie about dead people.
Okay. People who we couldn't possibly have met.
That's right. We'll just find somebody who will look every week. A new
no.
obituary.
Yeah,
I tell a story about seeing them in a Walmart 25 years ago when they did me in the bathroom, and then you.
Yeah. No, you're going to a yucky place. Nah, we could do something fun, like they gave me an ice cream cone or something. No bad stuff.
It's trauma. We're trying to undo our traumas here.
Our trauma. Okay, yeah. Well,
there was a woman who had a TikTok. And maybe I should send it to you because I sent her a message. It was lovely. So it was at Christmas time, and she comes up and she says, "This is really tough." Like, it was December 24th. She's leaving this message because I'm alone on Christmas, and I feel like I'm the only one alone on Christmas. I know that's not the case. I know there's lots of people alone on Christmas, but it's so. And she's like almost crying.
It's hard,
and it was beautiful. And so I wrote her a note, and I said, I think I'm an open person. I couldn't do what you did if I was in that situation. I admire you for being able to do that. That is the epitome of somebody who can live authentically.
Yeah. And stepping up and out of wherever they are to a better place. And
not going, I can't let them see this soft underbelly.
Not wallowing. Yeah.
And I think I can do that. And when I see that, I know I can't do that. And I learn a lesson from it. And so I wrote her that. And then I looked and I wrote that right in her thing. And then I realized, crap, she's following me. I must have seen another video from hers, and I followed her before, and she followed me. So I then got to write her a much longer note describing that, not the limited to 99 characters or whatever. I hate that limit. I'm always typing and it stops, and I go, oh my goodness.
And then what word can I get rid of? What word can I get rid of?
Oh, I can't stand it because I want to write, and I'm not a writer. But you can't, all you can say is give little heart emojis and go, well done, or more of this, or that's all you can do. And I want to almost always congratulate people because I'm reading something that I admire, and I want to tell them I admire that, what they've done or how they've responded or something of that nature. I
got to tell you a funny story. There's this lady who I'm friends with on Facebook, and she's part of our extended church community. And her husband's a teacher at my kids went to. And we look alike. She's got glasses. She's got dark hair, round face, both the same build as I am. And we're both also both a little bit quirky. And I really like her and appreciate her. So I was doing, I was a part of a puzzle group with her, and it was nice to get to know her. Her name is Marcia. She's really nice. And so she sends me a message on Messenger, and she says, funny thing today, I'm working at Dutch Toko now, and the lady came in, and the lady said, I'm just so impressed with all that walking you did. That's such an accomplishment to her. And she's, you're welcome. Because it was like she had the wrong person.
Right.
She thought it was me, and she was talking to Marcia. So it's like, now that's, misaligned thing. I thought that was really a cute story.
How did she know to think that might have been you? Like, why would
we look enough alike, and she maybe knew that we were both part of this Dutch community, so I might work at Dutch Toko, I guess.
Right,
but to pick out a person and think and start a conversation. And I love how Marcy didn't say, no, that's not me. She just said, oh, thank you. You're welcome. It was very nice. It was like, excellent. So now if someone says, you work at Dutch Toko, it's like, no, but I'll know what that means.
Exactly.
So,
yeah, you will.
I like those fun stories. So
I mean, all in all, very happy with the movie.
Yeah, it was, I learned it's a part of history, and I thought it was a good shake of the stick at what they did. Did a good job.
Not as good as the Joker, but a really good. But I want you to watch Longford. I want this is not part of our thing, but
right.
This movie times 10 in the contradiction of, can I accept somebody for their ills?
Right.
And he is he's playing something Broadbent, not Ed Broadbent from Canadian politics, but he's a politician in the UK, and he plays him fantastically. And he wrestles with that and tries his hardest to see the good in people. And you don't know how much to allow that to happen, and you don't know how much to be mad at him or love him for it. It's really an interesting step into it. Longford, yes.
So it's a movie?
Yep. Longford. Longford.
From 2006.
Yeah. Comes up in the list right in this movie. So
Jim Broadbent. He is great.
Yeah.
Oh, Andy Serkis. Okay. Yeah.
That Andy Serkis guy, the acting in this is about the best acting I think I've ever seen. When you watch him talk, you believe in him being this bad guy.
Well, what else what else he was in, right?
Well, let me click on him and see.
Lord of the Rings?
Yeah, Lord of the Rings and The Prestige and Rise of the Planet of the Apes and Inkheart and Batman.
Snoke in Star Wars.
Yeah, he was in Star Wars also. Oh,
Gollum. He was Gollum in the Lord of the Rings. That's who he was. Yeah. So
excellent.
Yeah. So we'll pick another one. What are we looking for? Oh, you have to pick someone with Michelle Pfeiffer as the lead actress.
Yeah, I do. So I will go.
You'll go find something. I like how it's actually like this was my choice, but in some ways it was your choice because I give you the options and then you pick it, because there's no sense me picking it if no, I've already just seen that or whatever.
Right, if I've seen it, that's why, and I'll do the same thing. I'll pick the three best, I think, and then you get to pick from that. Yeah. And then I already get to pick what I want, and you get to pick what you want.
Sort of, yeah. Okay, we'll see you next month.
Or sooner.
Yeah, I'm sure, but not in this place.
Yeah, no, like video or say hi. Yes. Or
I know you wouldn't want to do it like in the middle of the month or anything like that. You have to wait till the last day to possibly do it, but that's okay.
But in an ode to Stacy, who will be watching this, she watches this from beginning to end.
Oh dear, poor Stacy.
I know, it's amazing. In ode to Stacy, I didn't do this on the last day of the month because February has 32 days in it.
No, it doesn't.
It does.
No, it doesn't.
February has a different number of days than all the other months.
Yes, you know that part, but you just didn't know what the number was.
Numbers aren't important right now. If you want to be, if you want to be
psychopathic about it.
No, what's it called when you're
in denial?
And high numbers matter, low numbers matter, like Black Lives Matter, like trying to come up with, you can't say it doesn't have 32 days. February, what's the word when you say February identifies as a 32-day month?
It does. I'm sure it does.
Because it's always had this weight of
always less
days.
Yes.
Identifies
always.
32 days.
You're weird. You're weird. And you actually had that conversation with poor Stacy? Yeah, poor thing. I'm sorry, Stacy. I'm sorry you're subjected to his weirdness, but that's okay. I love him anyways. But he's my brother, so I have to. So the fact that you put up with any conversation from him is like, it's sad in a certain way. But what? Tis what it is.
She's probably the only one who listens to this part.
Who will have gotten this far to
actually get to it.
To win the prize. Well, apparently Laura did it once, and like she just pressed and she was doing some kind of boring coding work or something like that, and got to the end. It's like, oh, so she said the word. She said cat or whatever the word was that she.
Yeah.
So. Yeah, there was no there's no comments and stuff like that, or just like lined up and it's, I'm sorry you just broke the YouTube internet because so many people were watching your video.
I just got a takedown notice from YouTube. A friend of mine gave me some VHS tapes and said, "Can you put these on DVD?" And I said, "I'll do better. I'll just put them up on YouTube, and you can share them with your kids." And what I mean?
Yeah.
Right away, and they all get to watch them whenever they want on their phones and show all
there you
stuff
go
25 years ago or something. And so I put it up. I had 4 different videos, and the third one I just got a message back. You have it's scary when you read this. People probably know.
Oh yeah.
When you see it, we want to let you know that our team reviewed your content and we think it violates our child safety policy. When you get something like that, you go, "Oh my goodness, I don't want to be known as the person who violated."
No. So what was it? Kids playing and bonking on the head or something?
No, I think it's probably somebody in a bathtub, like when they're
okay,
going 1 year old.
Okay, but I mean, look, Funniest Home Videos has stuff like that all the time.
I know, and I'm like, I don't even know that for sure. I just remember in one of the videos seeing that.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that could be something to do with it, and they just. So I'm just going to go take that video, edit that piece out, redo it. If it makes it, then I'll know exactly that. That was first. But it's not my stuff, and it's saying you've done this. I'm going, no, don't you dare blame me.
Oh, and I was on Facebook. I was getting all kinds of like the spam kind of stuff. The sponsored stuff was all like, "Stop it! This isn't real. Stop doing that." So I thought I was reporting it to the admins of the group or whatever it was, but instead I reported it to Facebook, and I must have clicked on something. I thought I clicked on scam or no spam. Yeah. And they said, "Oh, you clicked on that this was hate bullying speech." And it's like, no, I wasn't trying, because so now they've ruled against me. You have made an incorrect accusation. We're watching you. And it's like, I don't think I did that. I must have pressed the wrong button. I'm sorry. I just want them to stop sending me those things. Oprah's not trying to do weight loss gummies. She said she's not. You keep saying she is. You're a scammer, you bad people, you. Anyways.
Okay.
Truth and justice in the American way or Canadian way or some way. Yay, Bernie.
I'll stop the recording.
See you next month.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.